So if I hit play right now, my chest animation will just automatically start playing here. And I'll get stuck in sort of this loop between opening and closing that we defined in the previous episode. So I go back over to its animation controller by double clicking my anim controller object in the animator component. What we want to do is say, in this case, don't start playing this animation unless something has happened in the game environment. For example, with player going up to the chest and pressing the interact key, for example. So what we can do is add a parameter to this anim controller. Up here on the left next to layers, we have a parameter tab. So we've got a few different types of parameters we can add when you hit the plus button. If you're familiar with a bit of scripting, coding, you'll know what all of these are. Maybe not necessarily trigger, that's a very sort of specific one. But this is the one we're going to use. It's very simple. It just says, on some sort of event, cause this animation to start playing. And I'll call this, for example, player interacts, just to be super obvious about what this does. Or I could just call this interact even. And that's just a simple trigger event that gets fired off from a script when something happens, and we'll cover how to script it in the next episode. But for now, I want to cover how to set this up. So we go with my idle state, for example, and we click on the noodle connecting to the chest open state. Right now, this just happens automatically. There's no animation clip on idle, so it just automatically goes into a chest open, sort of immediately sort of flows down this noodle, and we can watch that system in play if we want to. What we want to do is go over to the inspector here and change the has exit time parameter. Just go ahead and uncheck that. What it does is says don't automatically transition to the next clip when the previous one finishes playing. And what you'll see down here is we now have a warning that says transition needs at least one condition or an exit time to be valid. So obviously right now this is an invalid transition from one state to another. So what we just do is press plus and we choose the parameter we want to cause that transition to happen. Right now, you can sort of define values in here as well for different types of parameters. But with a trigger parameter, it just says, does it happen or does it not happen? In this case, when the trigger fires off, it will automatically transition now into that animation clip. And I can do that for all my noodles now. So when the player presses E again on the chest, will turn off has exit time. Doesn't happen automatically, otherwise it will go here on the E key, for example, and then it goes down the noodle, and then it goes into close, and then it would automatically go back to open, which is not what we want here. I want this always to happen on some sort of interaction. So I'll go ahead and add that parameter now on every single noodle in my system here. And make sure you turn off has exit time to stop that sort of automatically making that transition. So I go back to my scene now and press play, it will no longer automatically start playing that animation clip. Cool. And in the next one, I'll show you how to set up the scripting portion of this interaction.